In this example, how would we classify secant squared theta minus 1? Very good, class. So this would factor into awesome. It doesn't matter if the plus or the minus goes first, so whatever you prefer there is fine. All right. Now, looking at letter B, that would be an example of a trinomial. All right, but we are dealing with trig in this scenario. So it's no different really than 4x squared plus x minus 3. But instead of having the x, now we have tangent, right? So if you want to work your way through MAF or MAL or guess and check, however you want to factor that, you can. So just as a refresher, I'm going to work through it using MAF. So we need two numbers that multiply, so what? Negative 12 and add to 1. What are those two numbers? 4 and negative 3. And then our procedure for when we factor, the way we handled it was we would say x plus something, the values that we want to add to, so the 4 and the negative 3 go in the numerator, and then what goes in the denominator? 4. All right, and that is the value of a, right? So we'll put that 4 in the denominator. Okay. Finishing off that, you simplify each fraction if possible. So 4 over 4 reduces to 1. And here we would just bring that in front, right? So that becomes 4x minus 3. We can't reduce negative 3/4. So to have that factored, we would bring that denominator out in front. All right. That's the weird part of MAF when you're factoring an expression. Because we're not solving. Keep that in mind. That we are just factoring. But in this case, it's just not x, it's tangent theta, right? So what we kind of did there was we replaced tangent theta with x. So what we'd have to do on our way back is say, all right, well, this would just be, wherever we see x, we put in tangent theta. So this would be tangent theta plus 1 and tangent, or 4 tangent theta minus 3. And that would be factored. Any questions? Okay. One other option that you have with that is you could run good quad or a quadratic formula program on your calculator. All right, and I'm totally fine with that because you have that ability now. You have the program already. So if you run good quad, we would put in our values of A, B, and C, which would be 4, 1, and negative 3. So if we go ahead and do that, you go to program. Gotta get out of the program here. So you go to program, you run good quad or whatever other program you may utilize. And if you run one that solves quadratics like good quad does, you put in 4, 1, and negative 3. So 4, enter, 1, enter, negative 3, enter. And these give you the roots. Okay, so the roots are 0.75 and negative 1. That means if you solve this quadratic, you get 0.75 or negative 1. 0.75 as a fraction is what? 3/4. So if you solve this, you'd have, run it using good quad, which I'll say is GQ, not gentleman's quarterly. But here we have theta equals negative 1, or we had 3/4, right? So if you're doing it this way and you get those as your answers, what you would have to say is, all right, well, we would have the tangent of theta, and negative 1 would come from a factor of tangent theta plus 1. Because if you set this equal to 0, right, you'd subtract 1, and that would give you the negative 1. Does that make sense? So it's always, the root will come from a factor that is opposite, right? Okay, and then here this would be tangent theta. Technically, it's positive 3/4 here, so we would have minus 3/4 here. And then to make that official, we move that 4 in front like we did in the previous So that's when we're just factoring, okay? If we're solving, we don't have to move that 4 in front, but when we're simplifying or factoring, we do. Any questions?